Okay. The topic that I wanted to discuss was, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. It's been a minute since I've done that dungeon, so I kind of forgot that that happens. But anyway, hi, hey, hello to the world. I'm Aurora, but my friends call me Muse. Whichever you decide to call me, I leave it up to you to choose. And today we have a little bit of a different video. This was a portion taken from a live stream I did a little while back. And this is a topic that I had been wanting to make a video about for a while. But I ended up just discussing it live with some friends while I was playing the game. So feel free to check me out over there if you want to catch some of the streams. Spoiler warning, as I'll of course be discussing instances throughout Dawntrail and some of the patches. With that said, let's jump back in. Do we think that adding duty support was a mistake? And I feel like the short answer is no. Because when you look at like the motivations behind doing it, you know, they wanted to bring in more players and some people who, you know, aren't that comfortable in an MMO format and are more used to single player games, but like they still want them to experience the story of 14. So I understand the motivations behind that. And I don't necessarily feel like it's a bad thing. But on the other hand, I do feel like maybe Dawntrail suffered a bit because of it. Dare I say its biggest problem and not Wolf Lamont. And when I say that, I mostly mean because more than anything, I truthfully, well, I mean, I say truthfully, but I personally think that Dawntrail's biggest issue is the inclusion of the Scions, like all of them, when we probably only needed like 2 or 3 with us. And you know, at first it was like, yeah, we're on vacation, yada yada yada. And it was like, okay, cool. But like we knew that that vacation was not going to be the whole expansion. Like we knew there was going to be a twist or something going on, you know? So, and then they had the whole thing with like the competition and like the Scions are going to be pit against each other and we're going to be beefing and like, ooh, and like that did not deliver at all. That was like one instance at most, and then the rest was just like mild teasing. And I'm not saying that I wanted to be like throwing hands with my people, you know, this my family, but it's just like, why did we try to sell that as such a big point when it's very insignificant? I want to fight him for real. I mean, hey, the what was it? The Grand Malay back in Heaven's Word, that was pretty fun. And then the Nodum and Stormblood. Let me fight Urianger. Astro v Astro. But yeah, I just feel like they did not deliver on that at all, and it honestly felt like straight up false advertisement. TBH, not gonna lie. They had Graha on a freaking the side of a building advertising Dawntrail. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Graha, but like his face on a billboard for what? What did he? Not saying he didn't do anything. He definitely like contributed, but like he wasn't like really a significant person in this expansion until like the second half, you know. And I love his speech that he gives in Living Memory, because I think it's very, you know, it's a nice little reflection, especially on his journey. But I just don't understand why they put him on a billboard versus like Cryo or Wuklamot or literally any other Dawntrail relevant character. It kind of just felt like, you know, like what is that? Fan service maybe? I don't know. I mean, yeah, for money. But I don't know, because I know it's also kind of tough where like because of Graha's story you might not want to like, you know, you might not want to try to keep him a secret because, like, you know, he is relevant. Not into the fandom that much, but isn't he the fan fave? Um, yes. I would say yes. Overall, he's a very popular character, but I still just feel like it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me, you know? Like if he had a bigger role in the story, I feel like it would have been fine. But like, you know, he kind of served the same thing as Yashola with like, you know, hey, this is otherworld stuff going on here. But he did come with us a living memory. Yashola stayed behind. They just came to help. They weren't like specifically needed. Yeah, and like I don't know. I just like I've already said like who I feel like should have come with us for the full Dawntrail journey, which is Cryo and Graha and Aaronville, obviously. He's not a scion, but just in terms of like our party, you know, for the right of succession. Because I do feel like our party was too big with the twins. And like a lot of people, you know, they blame Wolf Lamont. She's like, oh, she has so many voice lines and she never lets anybody else get any time, and it's her fault. But I feel like them trying to squeeze in the scions somewhere where they weren't necessarily like needed. I feel like that took away time from like newer characters in Dawntrail that could have had more time to shine. Like Aaronville is more like introverted and like quiet. So, you know, he had his moments when he did, and he spoke up when he did. I do feel like, low-key, I kind of wanted to see more, like, friendship moments with him and Wuklamot. I mean, obviously, he cares about her in his own way, but, like, a lot of their interactions are him, like, dunking on her, and it's kind of, you know, you know. But if she's okay with it, then I don't really have a problem with it. Yes, but I would have liked to see like more of their dynamic, their shenanigans and whatnot. Same thing with Crowd. You know, a lot of people were saying like Crowd was just like there and not really like doing much. And granted, she couldn't really do much because any of the answers that she wanted were related to the right of succession, so they couldn't just like tell her, you know. And you know, she's starting to have more of her moments in the patches, which I feel like is good. But I still would not say like they said like this is gonna be like the Cryo expansion. Like I get what they meant when they said that, but like, yeah, I don't know. But moving on to the point, I do like Thancred and Arianje like helping Kona. And like especially in terms of, you know, reaching out and being more himself and all that stuff. But I do feel like somebody else could have also delivered that advice, you know. I don't think it necessarily had to be them. And I'm kind of like low-key over the twins right now because they keep talking about saving Garlemald, and I'm just like, whatever. But based on the patches, the teaser, I guess that will be coming into play. I mean, they say it every time we literally talk to them. Yeah, so I personally feel like the only signs that should have came on this journey were Cryo and Graha, just because Graha has been like begging for us to go on an adventure. I mean, he still got to come technically for the second part, but yeah. So getting on to the point, I feel like because of duty support, you know, having the scions in it, they probably felt the need to like have the scions in the story so that they could be there for duty support. And like I get it, it's easy because they already have, you know, their movesets, and like, you know, Alize can be a DPS or she could be a healer based on whatever because she's a red mage. You know, Thancred can tank. Graha's an all-rounder, like all that stuff. Cryo is a DPS. So like I said, I feel like Cryo and Graha were fine. But everybody else, I just kind of feel like they didn't really need to be there, but I feel like they were there because they needed to fill in those duty support slots, so they didn't have to, model newer characters to do stuff like that. And I mean, now they've kind of like retroactively added duty support to all the dungeons, or like the main scenario dungeons, and like you do have like random NPCs, like, you know, people from your free company helping you in like A Realm Reborn. And I feel like that's good because it's not forcing. I mean, like I said, it's retroactive, so it's not quite the same. But I do feel like it might be impacting the story writing, especially the story writing for Dawntrail. Like, oh, we need to have all these people here at this point so they can be available for the dungeon. Like, I don't think that's I don't think that's a good way of framing it. Yikes. I don't think that's a good way of framing how the story should go. I feel like the story should progress, naturally. And obviously, of course, we still need people, but I feel like in that case it should be, the bonds that we've made in that area so far, with people, willing to help, and not necessarily like, oh, like Alize and Alphinaud are here, so like, yeah, they can be healer and DPS. Like, I don't know. So that kind of brings me to like the thought of, because like in Endwalker it was cool, especially with Elpis. When I saw who was in my party for the dungeon, I was like, oh, absolutely. So like seeing that, I feel like that's cool, but obviously they're not with you the whole story, so that was a very special moment for everybody. And then the trial, which was the first instance of them doing that, I feel like that was cool as well. And then when they did it again in Dawntrail with like Zeralja, joining in, like I didn't expect that at all. So I feel like stuff like that is good, but like I said, I do feel like the story writing is kind of being written around that, maybe, instead of the other way around, if that makes sense. So that kind of makes me think about like our squadron for your not free company, but your grand company. I feel like that could be an alternative way, but then you would have to level that up, so I don't think they want people to do that, because that would be a lot of work and probably deter like single player people from wanting to do the story because they have to level up this thing before. But just in terms of like, we recruit people, into that, so I feel like they could have something like that, like just like a surface level like recruitment thing, and you like have those people like join you for the dungeons if there's not enough NPCs with you that like fight. Because like I know Aaronville, he is very set on like not doing combat, and that's fine. I know like a lot of people like wanted him to like do something. I still feel like there could be a chance of him with Beastmaster, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think it's fine that he's not a fighter. I think that's okay. I feel like that's very healthy for the world, because like, having everybody be like, have hands, kind of unrealistic. But so like in those cases with like Aaronville, like his spot could be substituted for, somebody re-recruited, or like somebody who's like, for example, for the Radic Succession, they were rooting for Wook Lamont, and they wanted to help her, so like they decided to join us for that dungeon or whatever to help her cause, something like that. And I guess if you want to have like your squadron with you, then you get like extra perks or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, do y'all have any thoughts on that? Do y'all feel like the story is being impacted by having to have certain NPCs in an area for a certain section of the story, because like, I guess it would be strange to start a new arc in a new era without having the Scions there, but I also feel like that would have been fine, because I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like they were scared. I feel like they didn't want to not have the Scions there because of the story that they have been telling so far, especially with Endwalker. But like they did that whole thing about us disbanding. Not really, but like the world is not supposed to know that. And just for it not really to mean anything, like, you know, in real time it was obviously a break, but like if you weren't playing the game like current, then obviously that hiatus didn't really mean anything. You know? They don't need to have all of the scions. Yeah. Like Ishola made sense to come in because of, you know, the cross-world travel, and that's like her main research topic right now. I do feel bad about all the hate that, you know, Woke Lamont got, because I just imagine them being like, yo, they've been begging for female Rothgar for years, so we're gonna make the main character of this expansion a female Rothgar, and then everybody, obviously not everybody, but everybody TM, loud voices on the internet hate her. It's just like, oh, it's just kind of sad. But you know, we love Wook Lamont over here, so yeah, I don't really think she's the problem, because she was the main reason why we came to Tuliolo, to Tyrol, you know? She literally invited us to help her. Like, without her invitation, we would not be in Tyrol. Probably, yeah, no, because like the Rite of Succession was going on, and they were about to kick us out. They were like, hey, bro, I don't know where you came from, but you gotta go back the way you came. And then they saw, well, Wook Lamont was like, no, they're with me. And then they were like, oh, okay. You know, because they're literally going through a change of power in their country right now. They don't need outside people meddling with it, unless you were invited, of course. Hi, Editor Aurora here. I do want to say very briefly, I understand that the way I'm talking about things is in a sort of retroactive perspective, and I do understand that some people just don't like how the story was written at all, and they wish that it was different. But one of the things that I do find interesting is that when people talk about how quote unquote bad Dawntrail is, a lot of people don't offer alternative scenarios or situations. They just say that it was bad. And that kind of makes it hard to have discussions like this, because if you just say it's bad, then it's just like, okay, well, what would you have liked to have seen? And they're like, less Woke Lamont. And it's just like, okay, got it. So we also have to think about the fact that this is the story that the developers wanted to tell. It wasn't like somebody influenced them to change the story and like, you know, whatever. Um, yeah, I just find that phenomenon interesting. So I definitely understand that point of view. If you feel like just because that's the story that they wrote doesn't mean I have to like it, that's valid. But I also do feel like maybe if there were more discussions about how what people would have preferred to see, I think that would have been way more beneficial for feedback and discussion purposes, rather than just saying Dawntrail sucks. Okay, back to the video. Yeah, I don't know. I just think going forward they should just let the story naturally, you know, persist, and not really be like, oh, like we need these characters here for the dungeon, you know, because I feel like a lot of people have been saying they're kind of tired of like the format where like you can predict like where the dungeon and trial is going to be. I personally don't mind that, but um I do think it was kind of a little obvious when it came to some of the Dawntrail dungeons. It's like, oh, we got exactly 8 people here, you know? It would be cool for them to mix it up every now and then. But yeah, I don't have an issue with it. Yeah, because I feel like they did? Question mark? Hold on. 91, 93, 95, 97, 99. Okay. What about Endwalker? Because I don't like... There's like a jump in dungeon somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe not. No, I think it's a Realm Reborn, actually. Yeah, because like these are optional. These are like optional dungeons. I don't like that jump because it doesn't feel good when you're leveling, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, they follow the usual format, and I guess sometimes the trials move around. Actually, speaking of, let's go see my squadron. They low key like they just be chilling in there, but I don't be using them, you know. I just say hi to them when I need to go to my glamour dresser, and then I'm out of there. But like yeah, like you have like enlistment papers, um, based on like different people want to enlist based on the stuff that you do in the game. But I already have my team. I haven't really changed. I think I changed like one or two people out. Would that make her name Coon Brita? I I don't like that. Anyway, I know that's our name, but that's kind of wild. Anyway, like yeah, like these are cool people that like you can recruit, and I feel like that would be a cool alternative way to like have people to fill in those slots when the scions are not there, and they do that, or they did do that retroactively. Like here you have like the Marauder, Thaumaturge, and then later on I think you get like Scion. Yeah, so like you have like Scions that come and help you throughout the story, but that's because we're in Eorzea. Obviously once we go abroad it's kind of difficult. But like look, Temple Knight, Temple Banneret, whatever that means. So like they did it for like when they were retroactively adding in duty support like NPCs, but for Dawntrail I guess that wasn't in the plans, or they just felt it was easier because they were like, yeah, we're gonna have all the scions, here, like resistance fighter. Like, yeah, I feel like if it would be like a way for it to be like cool, it could be like a recruitment system. But I also know that would probably be a lot more work because you have to, program their moves, program their AI, and with the scions, they've been did that with the trust that came in Shadowbringers. So like it's really not that much for them to like swap like one or two people in. Like they did that for Wuklamot, obviously, because like Rain can't fight with us. For duty support, I just feel like going forward, that should not be that shouldn't be in the forefront or the top priority when we're planning story and content for the story, if that makes sense. Like I don't need everybody in my party just so we can have enough heads for the dungeon. We can figure it out. You know? Like Wooklama fine, Cryo fine, but like everybody else I'm like, y'all didn't really need to be here. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Y'all didn't really need to be here, TBH, in my opinion. They just write the story to have enough people now instead of having to go back and make some stuff up. Especially since we have our fruit gummy, we can literally just use that to summon someone. Exactly. Which is what we do in the regular dungeons. Well, the trials. I know that doesn't show in the dungeon, but the trials. But yeah, like, you know, and especially with us uncovering more stuff about our own legacy as a Zem. Like we could have some familiars that could fight. I literally use a carbuncle. Like, hello? Please put combat back on the carbuncle. We're getting Beastmaster. There's no way you're giving us Beastmaster and you're leaving my carbuncle stationary. Yoshi P, please. But quickly going back to like the squadron, like I think this only goes up to like 60. Yeah, it only goes up to 60, which is Heaven Sword, and then we got, duty support. So like this like content is kind of like obsolete, quotation marks, not really needed, quotation marks, but I think it would be cool, especially if they whenever decide to go back and give us more ranks. I don't think they're going to, but You know, it's just, it's there. We can see it. Commissioned officer. I don't got my own little team as a foot. Well, I do. I literally do. They're in here. But you know, like I feel like I should be able to bring them with me places. You know what I'm saying? Like I should have my own little squad outside of the Scions. Cause they do. They got people in Charlene that I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Just a thought. Just a little think tank. Hi, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for hearing me out. This is me recording this outro after having watched the live letter part 2. So a lot of exciting stuff, including the level 63 optional dungeon getting duty support. So nice. Obviously in conclusion, I don't think duty support was a mistake. It's a very good thing for the game, especially if you just want to chill and level by yourself instead of having to wait in queues. I just think Dawntrail might have been a little better off if they perhaps put more effort into, you know, showcasing newer characters and having them fight alongside us rather than the Scions, you know, being there to just easily fill in those slots. It's like, even Estinian, like, severely underutilized, but he came here of his own volition, so whatever. I'm gonna stop rambling now. So, as I say to myself, I say to you, do what you gotta do to preserve you. Catch you next time. Out of here.